Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Bianca and today we are doing a book haul. The last one I did was back in June. So what are we now, middle of September? So these are all the books that I have purchased. I've got 3 that were given to me by my mum, but the rest I have purchased. So there's quite a few. I've done them in categories, like basically we've got some that I have just seen all over Instagram and decided to purchase. Just excuse my hair, by the way. I washed it and then chucked it up in a ponytail. And now it's gone all funny. We're just going to deal with it, okay? So I've got some that I've purchased just because I've seen them around on Instagram and decided that I really needed to read them. I've got some that were pre-orders. I've got a couple that were from book shopping trips. Like I said, 3 that was given to me by my mum. And then the next Agatha Christie that I had to purchase to do the Agatha Christie reading every book type thing that I'm doing challenge. That's the word I was looking for. So let's first of all start with the 3 that my mum gave to me. So these are probably quite well-known authors. Well, 2 of them definitely are. We've got 12 Secrets by Robert Gould, which is obviously a small town mystery, which we absolutely love. I always love a small town mystery thriller. This one is following Ben Harper, and his life was changed forever the day his older brother Nick was murdered by 2 classmates. It was a crime that shocked the nation and catapulted Ben's hometown, Hadley, into the spotlight. 20 years on, Ben is one of the best investigative journalists in the country and settled back in his close-knit hometown. But then a fresh murder case shines new light on his brother's death and throws suspicion on those closest to him. Ben is about to discover that in Hadley, no one is as they seem. Everyone has something to hide, and someone will do anything to keep the truth buried. So yeah, definitely very much small town thriller. It actually sounds really good. So some of the books that my mum gives me are like ones that she's got cheaply. She's purchased them for like 30p secondhand. She's read them and then she passes them on to me. Sometimes they don't sound that appealing, but this one actually does, so that's good. Then we've got a Stuart McBride book. Stuart McBride is an author that I used to read quite a lot of quite a while ago. But obviously, again, the sort of thrillers, that you can have a good time with. They're quick, easy reads, fast-paced all the time, all that sort of thing. This one is following Inspector Logan McRae, who is looking forward to a nice, simple case, but the powers that be have other ideas. The high-profile anti-independence campaigner, Professor Wilson, has gone missing, leaving nothing but bloodstains behind. There's a war brewing between the factions for and against Scottish nationalism, and it's all playing out to the merciless glare of the media. Someone out there is trying to make a point, and they're making it in blood. If Logan can't stop them, it won't just be his career that dies. So I kind of feel like with Stuart McBride, they tend to be a bit more like a political aspect to them, but they're always kind of like fast-paced, and easy to read types of books. So there's always that. And then we've got J.D. Robb. This is, again, another author that I used to read quite a lot of. This one basically says, when they made the bargain, they knew they risked death, but living, if you could call existing in the Pleasure Academy living, wasn't much of a bargain. Mina Rose Cabot, aged 13, disappeared walking home from soccer practice in Devon, Pennsylvania. 8 months later, her body is found in Battery Park, New York, speared through the chest by a 3-inch piece of wood. Lieutenant Eve Dallas knows that whoever took Mina is responsible for her death, but who took her and where has Mina been for 8 long months? I mean, I'm not great when it comes to like children that have been killed or kidnapped. So I don't know fully how I feel about this, but it's obviously even like a graphic synopsis on the book. So we'll see. I mean, J.D. Robb is very good, also known as Nora Roberts as well, by the way. It's like another pen name for Nora Roberts. And I do actually have another book by this author as Nora Roberts to show you in a minute. But as J.D. Robb is a very much crime fiction, and the sort of books where they don't hold back with the gore type of thing. This is part of a series, but you can read them as standalones as well. And there's always, you know, great characters and great twists in a J.D. Robb book. Okay, now the next Agatha Christie is Death in the Clouds. So this is basically the, oh God, how many have I read so far? So this is the 12th book in the Poirot series. I'm not even halfway yet, okay? But I'm planning to read every single book that Agatha Christie wrote. And I've started with the Poirot series, but this one I'll be reading in November for definite. I will do another, trying to figure out who did it before Poirot does the reveal, that sort of thing. This, yeah, usual cozy, it always seems to be like cozy crime, always like a locked room mystery, you know, the usual Agatha Christie type of book. Now we have two books that I purchased when we were camping in Wales back in June. So the first one was The Askham Accusation by Rebecca Tope, which the cover is definitely for autumn, very autumnal vibes with the cover, and it is set in autumn. It's set on the edge of the picturesque Lake District. There is a funeral, and so you kind of go back to this small village for the funeral, and then a body is found or something like that. Now, I started reading it and I DNF'd it. I can't remember whether it's something to do with like the writing. I might try and give it another go, but there was something to do with the writing style, and just something just not, it just wasn't doing it for me. I wasn't loving it. So I ended up DNFing it whilst we were in Wales, but we are in autumn now. I don't know whether like the descriptions would be more autumnal. I don't know if just to like give it a quick go again, like another little try, or whether this is going to be a full DNF that I'm not going to bother with. But I might try it once more. You know, I don't want to. I hate DNFing books anyway, but yeah, we shall see about that. And then the other one that I got whilst we were away, Paul doesn't read, was The Awakening by Nora Roberts. Now, this is the first book in a series. It's fairly chunky. I think it's about just over 500 pages. But I gave it 5 stars. This book was superb, absolutely superb. So this is basically following Breen Kelly, and she basically is working in a job that she hates. You know, she basically kind of feels like she doesn't have anything to lose by going off to Ireland and doing a summer trip, which is where her father was from. So she decides to head over there with a friend, and when that friend, I think like the friend is off somewhere anyway. So Breen is basically taking this walk in the woods, and she goes through a portal into another world called, I'm trying to remember what it's called, Tadham. And there is all like magic. She just finds her family there. There's like witchy sort of vibes, like there's, you know, a whole other world as well. It's very magical, and basically writing in this is absolutely stunning. How I've never heard of this book before either. It's very much a fantasy, but like the book, just let me read you the very first paragraph, which is only 4 lines long. This is in the prologue. So mists, shimmering silver fingers rose over the pale green water of the lake. They twined and twisted toward a sky quietly grey, while in the east, over the hills, a pink blush waited, like a held breath, to wake him. In the chill of dawn, Keegan O'Boyne stood by the lake and watched the day become a day he knew of change and choice, of hope and power. I mean, I could carry on, couldn't I? You know, I could sit here and read the whole book. I mean, this book, I definitely will read it again because I absolutely loved it. The writing in this is absolutely stunning. Stunning, stunning, stunning. Very different to Nora Roberts' other books, which she writes under the pen name J.D. Robb. Very different. This is very much fantasy, magical realism, finding family, and the characters are amazing. I love the characters. I just love this whole world, both the setting in Ireland and also when you go through the portal into this magical world as well. The writing for the descriptions is beautiful. I would definitely 100% recommend reading this book. Actually, I would definitely recommend reading it this time of year as well, actually. It's stunning. So I'm really glad that I picked this up. And I got it from a very cheap shop in a place in Wales. There was a pair and it was like a bargain books. It was just a section of books. And I think I got like both of them for like a £5. So both of these. Obviously this one had a DNF, but this was absolutely stunning. And it's a book that I would definitely recommend. Then I have 3 books that I purchased recently when I went on a little shopping date by myself. I went shopping and went to go to Costa. Basically had a nice day out all by myself. And I really wanted to pick up some books for October because I wanted some more horror books for the month. So I've picked up 3, which I'm really excited for. So we've got Hell House by Richard Matheson, which I have seen on quite a few lists of books that you should definitely read around Halloween. This one is a house called Belasco House that has stood empty for over 20 years. And it says on here, its shadowed walls have witnessed scenes of almost unimaginable horror and depravity. 2 previous expeditions to investigate its secrets met with disaster, the participants destroyed by murder, suicide, or insanity. Now a new investigation brings 4 strangers to the forbidden mansion who are determined to probe Belasco House for the ultimate secrets of life and death. Each has his or her own reason for daring the unknown torments and temptations of the mansion, but can any soul survive what lurks within the most haunted house on earth? I reckon it's going to be very scary. It's going to be brilliant. It's perfect. It's not even that long either. It's less than 300 pages. It's going to be superb. I can't wait. I literally can't wait. I can't wait for all the horror books that I have for October. And then we have Gallant by V.E. Schwab. Is that Schwab? This is probably a bit more like gothic style. And I love the cover of this. Absolutely love the cover. So this one is following 14-year-old Olivia Pryor is missing 3 things: a mother, a father, and a voice. Her only companions are the goals she sees and her mother's journal, which captures her mind in turmoil. Until she receives a letter from an uncle she's never met, summoning her to his estate, Gallant. But when she arrives, she discovers her uncle is dead and the estate is empty, save for cousin Matthew and the servants. Gallant is a house of secrets, a house sitting in a lonely vigil, a place where the goals are powerful. Getting words out. As Olivia searches for answers about her family, her past, she discovers a dark reflection of everything she knew, an ancient realm where ghosts take form and the Dark Master sits waiting for her. So I feel like this is going to be more like gothic. I reckon so. I reckon it's probably more gothic. It definitely looks like it's going to be more gothic. Anyway, so yeah. Oh, I can't. Another one I can't wait. Can't wait for. Oh. And then we have Silver Nitrate by Silvia Moreno Garcia, another well-known author, and a book that was everywhere when it came. Was it last year that it came out? So I've read Mexican Gothic by this author and thought it was absolutely superb. This one is following, let's just read it because I can't even tell you. Right, Montserrat has always been overlooked. She's a talented sound editor, but she's left out of the boys' club running the film industry in 90s Mexico City. Then her best friend Tristan introduces her to his new neighbour, cult horror director Abel, who promises that he could change all of their lives. If only they'll help him finish what he claims is a cursed film by a Nazi occultist. Disbelieving, but with nothing to lose, Montserrat and Tristan agreed to help. However, as they work together to unravel the mystery of the film and its obscure creator, the pair might find out that sorcerers and magic are not only the stuff of movies. So I think it's going to be a bit of like a cult horror, this one, which, oh God, the writing's tiny in this. Jeez. How small the writing is. Okay, so very small writing in this one. But yeah, I've heard some really good things about this book, and I also think that Silvia Moreno Garcia is an amazing author, so I'm really excited to give that one a read as well. Then let's have a look at the books that I have seen all across Instagram and then decided to purchase, as you do. So We Used to Live Here by Marcus Kluwer, which I'm going to be reading in October. This one is another horror style one. It basically says young couple Charlie and Eve can't believe the killer deal they got on an old house in a beautiful yet remote neighbourhood nestled deep in the mountains. One day a man knocks on the door he claims to have lived in the house years before and asks if he could show his family around. People pleased to a fault, Eve lets them in. As soon as they enter, strange things start to happen and Eve wants nothing more than for them to leave and never come back. But they can't, or won't, take the hint that they are no longer welcome. Then Charlie suddenly vanishes and Eve begins to lose her grip on reality. She's convinced there's something terribly wrong with the house and its past inhabitants. Or is it all in her head? I have heard so many amazing things about this book. And it's been on like people's top lists. And so many people have been raving about it. So I had to go and get it as well. I think there's like a bit of mixed media in there as well, which is quite good. Which looks amazing. Another one I'm very excited to read. I'm probably going to be very excited to read all of these, but you know. Then we've got When the Moon Hatched by Sarah Parker. Like it's got a map and a beautiful bit under the dust jacket. This one, I believe there's just dragons. I know it's a fantasy. I don't know much about it. I just think the cover is stunning and I started seeing it everywhere, mainly probably because people just want to photograph it and have it on their Instagram for the cover. But I think there's something to do with an assassin and there's a dragon riders. So I'm just thinking maybe, you know, this could be like the new Fourth Wing. I don't know, it's going to be a bit like that, isn't it? There's dragons and dragon riders and assassins and oh my god, there's oh, look at there's like illustrations. Is that like, oh my lord, there's illustrations all throughout. How did I not know this? And like for the chapter headings, it's all, oh, it's absolutely stunning. Stunning, stunning, stunning. I don't need to know anything about it, do I really? Let's be honest. I think I'm going to love it. I hope, anyway. And then, oh, there's a sticker on there. The Woman by Kristen Hanna. This one, again, everywhere. Everyone keeps raving about it. I recently read, what did I read? The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna. Absolutely loved it. It was 5 stars. This one is another one. This is the most recent book by this author. I kind of feel like now that Kristen Hanna is probably going to be an author for me because, well, let's be honest, does amazing work. You're definitely going to cry when you read a Kristen Hanna book. Let's be honest. The emotions you get from reading one of those books. Again, I don't really know much about this one. I just know it's going to be very much your historical fiction. I kind of feel like I should go in with knowing nothing. Let's not even read that. Let's just know nothing about it. The Year of the Locust by Terry Hayes. So I am denied about this one for a long time about whether I was going to purchase this. So I read I Am Pilgrim, however many years ago. Absolutely loved it. Absolutely loved it. It was brilliant, superb, 5 stars. Do I remember everything about it now? Probably not. And I kind of feel like I might need to have a little bit of a recap before going into this one. But the reason why I didn't race out to buy this when it came out was because I was so annoyed with how long it took for Terry Hayes to release this book. So I think this was on pre-order lists for like a long time. Probably, I would say, nearly 10 years. It finally came out last year. I'm sure it can be 10 years. When did the first book come out? I'm not sure. Whenever the first book came out. It was years ago though. Years ago. I think I'm probably maybe not as long as 10 years ago, but I would say probably like 7 years, I reckon. And I just could never understand why we never got the book out to come out. Like, it was due to come out probably about 4 or 5 years ago, and then it kept getting pushed back, and it was pushed back again and again and again. And I was like, this book must be something special for it to be delayed so much. But then I was like, maybe there's a reason why it's been delayed so much. I don't know. So I'm kind of feeling like I really want to read it, but I definitely need to have a recap on what I Am Pilgrim, how that went. But this is more of like your spy thriller, a bit more of a spy thriller. And it is written, like, I mean, the first book was written really well. It's very short chapters. So even though it's like a very chunky book, you do get through it quite quickly. It's like 640 odd pages in this book. But I'm going with how I Am Pilgrim was. I mean, hopefully this is also fast paced, but again, it has got the short chapters. And I do love a bit of action in my books. So like a spy thriller tends to have quite a bit of action. So I end up really enjoying them. If there's a lot of action that's fast paced, I'm all for it. So I have a feeling I am going to love this. I'm just a bit cautious about going into it. And also I do need to have a bit of a recap on the first book beforehand. But I'm pretty sure you can... I don't know whether it is fully like a sequel. I'm pretty sure it is just like a standalone as well, possibly. Do you know what? I don't even remember anymore. See, it's been so long. But yeah, so I feel like I am going to love this when I do eventually read it. And then we've got Remarkably Bright Creatures by Xiaobi Fan Pelt. This I have already read, and I gave it 5 stars. So again, this was one that was like everywhere a few months ago. Although it actually came out back in 2022, it came out. But it kind of like didn't start getting really big until like early this year, I don't think. And I started seeing it places, and I was like, do you know what? It's intriguing me. It's got an octopus on the cover. Definitely read this book if you haven't done it. Oh my days, this book. There was points where I was like sobbing. So we're basically following this woman. Her husband has passed away, and she decides that she wants to work in this oceanarium. And basically just to, pass the time and get her out and about doing stuff. Now, years previously, so it's 30 years, her son, Eric, mysteriously vanished on this boat. And when she's working this oceanarium, the octopus, who speaks, by the way, we do see the octopus's point of view, which is amazing, and is an amazing character himself. He basically decides that he's going to play detective and help her figure out what happened to her son all those years ago. And oh my days, this book is beautiful. It's beautiful. I absolutely loved it. That's all I need to say. Now, these are the books that I pre-ordered, and they arrived on publication day. Let's do the one that I've read first, which was All the Colours of the Dark by Chris Whitaker. And I gave it 5 stars. Of course I did. Chris Whitaker does an amazing job with writing characters, like young characters. Now, usually when you have like a young character like 13, 14 in a book, they come across as quite annoying. But each time Chris Whitaker writes a story where there's this young character as your main character, he just does an amazing job with it. That they're not annoying. It's more like you're rooting for these characters and you absolutely love these characters. Basically, Chris Whitaker does an amazing job of characterization. That's all you need to know, really. So this one is following Patch, who is taken when he's 13. He's basically saving a girl from his class, and he ends up being taken. And he's held captive, and you're basically seeing his best friend, Saint, who is like basically the only one, it seems, trying to find her best friend Patch. And you kind of see that she absolutely loves him. Like, this is the love of her life. And obviously they're 13, but is the love of her life. And she's desperate to find him. And like, I think it's like a year or two later, she actually does find him. And you kind of see him obviously getting released. Now, whilst he was away, there was a girl there called Grace who basically helped him, was talking to him, but it was complete darkness. So he never knew what she looked like. All he knew was that her name was Grace and how she sounded. And when he finally gets, released from captivity, this Grace is nowhere around. And so he spends the rest of his life looking for and searching for Grace. And at the same time, Saint is still madly in love with Patch and wants to do everything she can to help him. So she ends up being a police officer and is also looking for Grace. And it's this story which is heartbreaking. I mean, you start off seeing this friendship between these 13-year-olds and how close they are and how much Saint absolutely loves and is so devoted to Patch. And when obviously you see them when he's gone missing, how much she works her hardest to try and find him. And then when she does find him, and then the aftermath of that, obviously he's, mentally had a lot to deal with at a young age, and, being held captive in a very dark room, obviously psychologically he's not okay. And you kind of see him trying to find himself, but at the same time, obviously being so focused on trying to find this Grace. And it's a story that's just absolutely stunning. Absolutely stunning. And, it's definitely very much about, love for friendships. And, I don't know how else I can describe it. It's absolutely stunning. It's beautiful. And even though it's a very chunky book, it doesn't really feel like that because, again, it's very short chapters. And I just think Chris Whitaker does an amazing job. It's an absolutely amazing author and is definitely an audio-buy author for me. I would definitely recommend it, of course. Now, these other three, the last three books, obviously they're pre-orders. I haven't read them yet. We've got The Life Impossible by Matt Haig, which is one that's set in Ibiza. I don't know too much about it going in. I just basically purchased it because I loved The Midnight Library, which is another novel by this author. I know that The Midnight Library kind of has a very much love-hate type of thing going on with it. Some people will love it, some people hate it. Personally, I always recommend The Midnight Library, especially if you've ever been dealing with, a bit of mental health issues. I kind of feel like it helped me a lot. It helped me a lot when I read it. And so obviously when I found out that Matt Haig was coming out with another book, I straight away pre-ordered it. And I think it's going to be, again, along the same sort of idea. So it does say here, filled with wonder and wild adventure, this is a story of hope and the life-changing power of a new beginning. I think I'm going to absolutely love it. But I think I'm going to cry when I'm reading it. So we shall see. And then two others that I only recently got a couple of days ago. They're pre-ordered. And I'm so excited to read. So first one, I've got We Solve Murders by Richard Osman, which is a brand new series. This is the same author of the Thursday Murder Club. Thursday Murder Club. So it's going to be another cozy mystery. So I'm definitely reading this in November. I'm saving it until November if I can. Now this one I've heard is actually set in the New Forest, which is obviously where I live. So I'm really excited for this because I love it when there's a book that's set where I'm living. Because you know where everything is and you can so easily picture it, or even somewhere that I've been, so you can actually picture it so well. This one is going to be a very quick read, I reckon. I'm just so excited to read it, and the fact that it's set in the New Forest is just even better. But yeah, it's a whole new murder mystery, type of story, a whole new series following, I think it's a man and his daughter-in-law. Yeah, so it's a bloke and his daughter-in-law. Do you know what? Let's not even read too much into it. Let's just know. It's also got a cat on the cover as well. Let's just go into it. And then lastly, but very not least, Somewhere Beyond the Sea by TJ Klune. Ooh, I'm going to be reading this month, I think. I popped it up to the top of my TBR just purely because this is a sequel to The House of Cerulean Sea, which obviously, you know, I think everyone knows about that book. If you haven't read it, then where have you been? If you haven't heard of it, I mean, where have you been? So it's a book which follows, it's almost like a found family, and it's just, you know what, it's just amazing. It's amazing. It's about these characters that are very much misfits, the children who have certain powers, and people are like scared of them, and they've judged them and just really scared of them. So they've basically been sent away to this house which is being looked after by like this, it's almost like an orphanage. And I don't know, it's just going to be, you got Linus whose job is to basically go to these houses and make sure that the children are being behaved, but they're not being abused or anything, and that they're okay where they are, if that makes sense. And when he gets there, he kind of starts realizing, you know, that he finds this love for these children, and I don't know, it's just so beautifully written. And this is the follow-up. And there's a moment where there's a bit of a romance, possible romance going on. And I'm hoping that's following on through this. I mean, it's not a possible romance. It's, you know, there is a romance in there. Because this one says, one magical family, 2 dedicated guardians, 6 dangerously gifted children. Oh, do you know what? I just can't wait to read it. So yeah, I have one book that I'm reading after my current read, and then I'm reading this because I just have to. I want to be back in that world again. I want to be surrounded by these characters again, because honestly, they were amazing. Absolutely amazing. So yeah, I just can't wait. I literally can't wait. Oh, I'm so excited. So excited. So yeah, those are all the books. That's it. That is the book haul. So quite a few, you know, there was some pre-orders, some recent releases, some that are a bit older books, but all books that I am really excited to read very soon. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I will be back very soon with another video. But yeah, thank you for being here, and I hope you enjoyed this book haul, and hopefully there's, you know, a couple of books on here that you think, oh, actually maybe I should get that book as well. You want to give it a try. So yeah, thank you again so much for watching. Bye for now.